Let's not sugarcoat it. Buying a home is not easy. It's expensive and can be confusing if you don't have a plan in place. Here's the brutal, honest truth about what it takes to win in today's market and avoid buyer regret. All right, so the first thing I want to talk about is interest rates. Let's just be honest, they're probably not going to go down drastically anytime soon. So if you're in the market to buy a home, then this is something that you're probably going to have to live with for a little while and figure out and budget for in the long run. If you're waiting for 3% interest rates to come back, you're basically chasing a ghost. It's probably not going to happen, and it's definitely not going to happen anytime soon. So if that's what you're waiting for, I would say you need to put that on the back burner. Let's come up with a game plan to help you get into a home that you love, and then we can worry about the interest rate later on the back end. Maybe the rates drop, you can refinance. Maybe they don't, and you stay with that. But at least you know you're in your budget, and you know that you can afford that home. And I think today's buyers just need to budget for that long-term affordability versus just focusing so much on the rate. Can we make sure that your monthly payment is where it needs to be with the interest rate that it currently is sitting at to get you in a home? So you might have to get a little bit less of a home because that interest rate might eat into the money you can spend on that home. But at the end of the day, if we can get you in a good home for a decent interest rate at this particular time, I would say go ahead and do it. And then maybe rates come down later, we can refinance, get everything worked out for you, and that monthly payment could get even lower. The second thing I want to talk about is having a pre-approval before you even go and look. There's nothing worse than window shopping and falling in love with something and then not being able to buy it for whatever the reason might be. And let's be honest, if you want to submit an offer on a home, you're going to need to have that pre-approval to show the seller that you're a serious buyer and that this offer actually carries the weight with it. I would definitely recommend you need to have that pre-approval in place in hand before you go and actually start looking at homes, because then you're going to know exactly what price range you need to be in, what your monthly payment is going to look like, what your interest rate is. Basically, any and everything that you're going to need for your monthly payment, you're going to have when you get that pre-approval. You can talk to the lender, go over monthly payments, your interest rates, what it's going to look like for you to get into this home, down payment, everything that you're going to need to know. And then we can kind of go from there and see, okay, is this home at $300,000 going to be good for you as far as what you need your monthly payment to be? Or do we need to be around 280, 270? That will all determine into what homes that you would look at and then what homes you would submit an offer. So I will say these homes are still moving relatively quickly in those areas that are desirable. So good school zones, convenient to everything. The home is move-in ready. There's nothing really wrong with the home. If somebody wanted to buy it, move in and just start living in it without doing any work, they can. Those homes are still moving fairly quickly. But if it's got a little bit of work that needs to be done, they may be sitting for a little while, but it is still somewhat competitive in the market as far as the nicer homes are concerned. So having that pre-approval is going to let the seller know that you're serious, and you're not going to have somebody come and buy it right out from under your feet because you don't have a pre-approval. You're not prepared, so you can't really submit an offer at that particular point in time. So make sure you get your pre-approval beforehand. That way you know when you look at a home, if you like it, you're able to buy it. And the last little thing I want to say about the pre-approval is when you are buying a home, I suggest that you go with a local lender. This is going to hold more weight than a letter from, let's say, a lender. I'm in Georgia. Let's say I got a lender from Washington State. A seller is going to be more inclined to feel comfortable with a local lender that is here in the specific area. I always recommend getting a local lender, so that's completely up to you. You're free to use whoever you would like, but I'm just letting you know when it comes to the seller side, they're going to probably lean towards a local lender than they are someone that's out of town or out of state. All right, so moving on to the third thing, like I was saying before, the homes that are nice in those good areas, I have actually seen them have multiple offers on them in the past several months. So they are still hot in those areas, and there are multiple buyers trying to buy these homes at the same time. You want to make sure you're prepared for that, depending on where you're going to buy, what type of home you're buying. buying. Now, if you're going to buy something that you're going to fix up or that needs some work, then you probably don't have to worry about a multiple offer situation. But if it's a great home, like the perfect, absolute pristine shape home in the perfect school zone, in the perfect area, convenient to everything, you might have to fight for it. Just saying. And I say that to say that the market is not crashing. You waiting around to get a good deal might cost you that home that you absolutely love. So I would say go ahead and just pull the trigger on it. Again, if rates go down, you can refinance later. In the long run, you've got the home that you love. You have a home that fits your needs, because obviously there's a reason that you're moving, whether you need to get a bigger home, a smaller home, your work, whatever the case may be, family. There is a reason that you need to buy a home. Why not get the home you love, and then later down the road, you can worry about refinancing if the interest rates drop. The fourth thing I want to talk about is Zillow. Everything that you see on Zillow is not going to be accurate. There are too many things that have to be taken into account to come up with a value on a property or a monthly payment or interest rates or whatever they might be showing you on there. Just kind of take that with a grain of salt and talk to an actual loan officer or real estate agent, somebody who knows how to come up with those numbers. That way you're getting accurate information and you're not just going off of what Zillow says, because again, there's so many things that need to be taken into account to get the proper numbers when it comes to these fees. Make sure you're not just going off of Zillow and that you're actually talking to somebody who does this for a living to come up with those numbers for you. So then that's when I would say get with a local real estate expert or a local lending expert, and they can kind of walk you through the process and kind of show you exactly what you're going to be looking at, whether it comes to the price of the home or how much your monthly payment is going to be, your interest rate is going to be, all that kind of stuff that comes with the financing, and you're going to have those accurate numbers. Another thing I want to talk about is that new construction isn't always easier. Yes, the builder might give you some incentives, but at the end of the day, they're going to try to sell you some upgrades. We've all been there. We've all done that. They're going to control the contract terms too, because a lot of them have their own contract and they're not going to be on a Georgia Association of Realtors contract document that we typically use. They are going to control that contract and what that contract says. So it's a little bit different than using the GAR forms. So I would definitely have somebody who knows what they're doing to look over those contracts and make sure that you are taken care of and that your interests are protected when you go to buy a new construction home. And then another thing is you're going to have less room for negotiation when it comes to the price. Typically, builders aren't going to negotiate on the price. They will offer the incentives and the other stuff that they may give you in lieu of lowering the price, but you're not going to be able to negotiate on that price like you would on a resale home. Just know that whenever you're going into buying a new construction, that the price is probably going to be pretty set, but you could maybe get some incentives such as closing costs or gutters or privacy fence. You can maybe get those things whenever you buy new construction. And even if you're buying new construction, you need a good agent and you need to get a good home inspection, because even though it's new construction, there can be issues that are found that need to be repaired before you move in the home. So make sure you get with a good real estate agent. Make sure you have a good home inspector that's going to go in there, inspect everything from top to bottom, and make sure that the home is like it should be. Another issue I see with buyers are putting emotions into the buying process, falling in love with a home, waiving an inspection, just doing things like that, that your emotions can kind of cause you to do that probably aren't in your best interest. So please, whenever you're buying a home, whether you're using an agent like myself or you're trying to do it on your own, whatever the case may be, make sure you take the emotions out of it and think strategically and get all of the data and everything that you need to make a smart decision whenever it comes to buying that home. The best buyers in 2025 are going to be disciplined, have the data, and know what they're walking into before they pull the trigger on a home. And then a big thing that you're going to need to know is that your down payment is really just the beginning. You're going to have several other things that you're going to have to pay for along the way that's going to come out of pocket, and it's going to be on top of your down payment. First thing is going to be the inspection. That's going to run you $450. Then you have the appraisal, which is going to be probably right around $550, somewhere in that ballpark. And then your closing costs, which are going to be your attorney fees, have your prorated tax taxes, any kind of HOA assessments or transfer fees, or anything and everything that you're going to have to pay for at the closing table is going to be on top of your down payment. Your down payment is just that portion of the principal that you're paying up front, and then everything else that needs to be paid after that is still going to come out of your pocket, which is why a lot of buyers try to get the seller to pay their closing costs. Whether they do or not, that's just a case-by-case basis, but a lot of buyers do try to negotiate that. And right now in the market that we're in, I would say you could probably get away with that on some of these homes, or a lot of these homes at this point in time. So just keep that in mind. Those closing costs, your inspections, your appraisals, all that stuff that happens after you go under contract is going to come out of pocket as well. So make sure you're prepared for that. Have extra money there in case you can't get the seller to negotiate those closing costs and pay for some of it. So that way you're prepared and you're not caught off guard whenever it comes down time to actually send the money and close on the home. You're not needing more than what you actually have. And then another thing that's going to be in there on top of all that, of course, is let's say you close on the house, you've paid all your closing costs, you've done your down payment, you've done everything, you're done, you signed, you got the keys. Well, what about appliances? You're probably going to need washer and dryer. You're probably going to need a refrigerator, because a lot of people take the refrigerator when they sell their home. If you're buying a new construction, it's not going to come with a refrigerator. You need to be prepared for those expenses as well after you buy the home. That way you can get those things that you need. Now, I do want to say working with the right real estate agent is going to be key when it comes to buying a home. The real estate market is not as simple and as dry cut as it used to be. There's a lot more paperwork, a lot more legalities to things that you're going to need to know whenever you're buying a home. And if you're not working with a good real estate agent, then you're probably not going to know all this stuff, and you could end up costing yourself thousands of dollars, which, hey, I'm here to keep that from happening. So hopefully you'll reach out to me or Luke and let us help you in that process. But if not, find you a good real estate agent that's going to take care of you, that knows what they're doing, and make sure that you don't end up losing money or buying a home that you're going to regret in the long run. And on top of that, having a sharp agent just means less mistakes, less money that's going to cost you out of pocket, stronger offers, and more wins throughout the transaction. So please make sure that you have a good real estate agent. I'm here. If you're in Georgia, I'm here, just saying. I'd be more than happy to help you. If not me, then please do yourself a favor, find you a good real estate agent that knows what they're talking about and is going to take care of you and make sure that everything you need is there. So if you're serious about buying in 2025, let's get together and get you a real strategy, not just a search link and set it and forget it. Okay, reach out to me, 478-888-7808. I would love to get a game plan together for you and help you get into that perfect home for you and your family.